Hello and welcome to the FSF PopCast Live Edition.
I was told that you wear my pajamas too much. I thought I would take it more seriously tonight.
Clearly and obviously, I stayed pajamas. You went bombshell red.
Yes.
Okay.
Why not?
All right. So
see what it does to the ratings.
We're going to have to put my eyes are up here sign on the screen, but you know.
It's all good.
Okay, then. Well, hello there, kids and cadets. Welcome to the FSF PopCast. This is our Tea Time live show episode, and this is the show that's about as comfortable to watch as a jockstrap that's 3 sizes too small.
Oh gosh.
So in other words, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yikes. I don't have any personal experience with that, but yikes.
You'll know if you put one on that's too small, trust me. Well, you got one person who wants to subscribe.
Hey!
But if he wasn't already, we have issues.
Right. Oh, goodness. Well, before we actually get into tonight's show and I stop being this ridiculous, I'll be my normal level of ridiculous. We need to say thanks. We need to say thanks to our show partners, Level Up Sabers, TCT, and Monkey Cult Coffee. So TCT is our newest partner and new nerd merch supplier.
Easy for you to say.
No, it's not.
Yeah, nerd merch supplier.
Sheesh. There's too many words.
Words is hard.
Why use many words when few words do trick?
Exactly.
I am very much having a Kevin Malone sort of day. Oh, my word. Just... But I don't have a pot of chili. I just have words, and I try to move, and they just go all over the place. But very yes, TCT, where fandom meets fashion. Star Wars, Marvel, Sasquatch, Doctor Who, Star Trek, and more are all available for you in perfectly unique and nerdy designs. Make sure to use code FSF15 at checkout. Please do it. Enjoy the things.
That's right. And I am expecting a brand new batch of Monkey Cult coffee in the mail any day now. I'm very excited. My wife, because she loves me dearly and she's adorable and she's cute. And I hope she's listening from the other room because I am totally kissing up right now. Anyway, she bought me a brand new bag of Monkey Cult coffee. You can get some amazing coffee too. There is, of course, the bourbon chocolate chip, which is my favorite. There is also a toasted coconut rum, which, let's be honest, if you can make me like anything with a flavor of coconut, you are doing something right, and they are definitely doing something right. That is actually a really good coffee. And they have a brand new one called Golden Honey Agave. I'm hoping to be able to try that out. Now, on top of that, these are their flavored artisan coffees, but they also have whole bean options for you if you like to grind your own beans. You know what really grinds my beans? Anyway, there's whole bean options for you. And if you use code FSF10 at checkout, you will get 10% off the entirety of your purchase.
And our longest running show partner, Level Up Sabers, the only saber guaranteed better than a stick, with a whole bunch of screen accurate saber hilts and custom hilts for you to choose from. You are sure to find the lightsaber of your dreams. Also, make sure that you buy lacrosse gloves to protect your knuckles. And a jockstrap with the right size.
We got a Ben!
Woo!
How are you?
Hey, hi, how are you? So, guys, all those things are down in the show links down below. Please sure to click on those. Clicking on those links helps our show to continue to grow. And, it helps out considerably. So we just want to say thank you for that. If you are buying those things, say thank you. It means a lot to us. Also, if you could do what the banner at the bottom of the show says down below, if you haven't already, click like and subscribe, smash the button, do the thing. Your subscription helps us a ton. And if you're not having enough fun here, well, then you need to go to Patreon, because at patreon.com/FSF Podcast, you can have, a lot more fun. There are 5 levels of subscription from $1 to $40 with early access and all the things and the funds and the things. And anyway, go check it out there. There's a lot that you are missing out on if you are not already a Patreon subscriber. And one more thing before we bring out our guest. If you haven't already, there is a way for you to win free loot. In the next couple days, we will be drawing for the winner of 5 copies. I'm going to get my hand on the screen. 5 copies of this movie here, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. So sign up at fsfpopcast.com/contact. Enter your email address, and we'll get with you. We'll get shipping addresses if you are a winner, and you get to win some loot. It's a free Blu-ray copy, and it's also available out on digital. But why go buy the digital if you have a chance to win the Blu-ray? I'm just saying. Anyway, go sign up for the things. And that's it. And I'm not sure who Facebook user is, but hi, Facebook user. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Hello, Facebook user.
And welcome, Ben.
Hi. Hello. I do have the thing up now.
And although John is technically correct, I would also like to point out that John is technically incorrect. And he needs to spend 5 minutes in the corner of shame.
Technically correct is the best kind of correct. Woo! Fuzzy camera.
Fuzzy.
Anyway,
tonight's
guest.
Hi, Eddie. Eddie's from the Andromeda group that I'm a part of and has helped us with not only people viewing our Andromeda interviews for like Lexa Doig and Laura Bertram and Gordon Wolvett, all who are major stars of the show Andromeda. But he's just been a really big supporter of the show. So, and he's from the Ireland. How cool! Hi, Eddie. Anyway, okay.
Anyway, tonight's guest is tonight's guest is Tyson Hadfield. Bring them on out.
Hi, Kathleen.
Oh, but Kathleen's gone too. Okay,
yeah.
We're all having tech issues, I guess.
Hi, Tyson. Welcome to the madness. Enter if you dare.
I'm here. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Tyson is the gentleman that was told to us by former guest PJ Harzma, Hollywood producer. We interviewed PJ, and he was talking about the website that he runs along with Drew Lewis called Couch Soup. And he was like, there's the benefits of being on Couch Soup. And here's one of the best stories of being a Couch Soup member that I can give you. And he starts telling us about this kid, Tyson. And it's a kid to PJ. I'm not actually sure how old Tyson is.
85.
85. Excellent. I'm 87. So there we go. And he starts telling us about all the different things and how they met up and how he was able to get, some perks. And I'm sure that Tyson could do a far better job with this story than I'm slaughtering through. So Tyson, tell us about why you went to Couch Soup and how you got to meet PJ and Drew and all the guys.
Yeah, I love this story, so I could talk about it forever. But how long are these typically? These about an hour?
Ish.
I mean, you go as long as you need to go.
I could forever. So I wrote I
have hot tea. Go for
it. A hot tea for a hottie. So
Tim.
I bet home my expensive.
Is that a tea bag?
You saw nothing?
Is that a tea bag?
I'm drinking peppermint tea. I have sour tummy tum.
Shame on all of you.
I just don't have any tea. I have water.
That's fine.
So I wrote a movie script. It's actually, I have a copy behind me. Whoops. Because you know who Nolan North is? Do you know who Uncharted is? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a big Uncharted fan, big Nolan North fan.
Voice of Ghost on Destiny.
Yeah.
Whether we wanted it or not.
Exactly.
I'm wearing the Valis to Aryx shirt.
I don't know that one.
That's
from
Destiny.
Whether we wanted it or not, we stepped into a war with the Cabal on Mars. The entirety of the quote is just printed out on the shirt.
That's awesome. So I part hoping that Nolan would actually be interested in it, and this was 2018, and so back then, remember PJ talked about it was something called retro replay.
Yeah.
Back then, Nolan and Troy Baker would play old games and comment and be inappropriate and fun and everything on that. But so it was like a shot in the dark. Cameo. You can buy Cameo videos of shout outs from different celebrities. Nolan was on there. And so I was like, all right, threw a Hail Mary and said, I wrote a part for you in my script. Are you interested? And he got back to me and he said, he's like, yeah, send it to Retro Replay, attention to, and then PJ emailed me from that. And I'm like, who's PJ? Who's PJ Harzma? And I looked up his IMDb and I saw he was the producer of Con Man, which I know you're a new fan of. I was like, so that was my first email to him. Like, I love Con Man. In fact, I got some Con Man goodies up here too. Gifts from PJ from when I was at the studio. This one's a Firefly photo book taken by Nathan Fillion. Signed by Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. And this is a Spectrum.
So where is your address so we can steal that?
No. Ben, you have to
Acquire.
learn how to. You have to learn how to approach this. We would like to come see it in person.
You can still.
That's what I mean.
You go on couchsoup.com on their merch and you can buy it. So you don't have to steal mine. But mine was a gift.
There you go.
This one's a Spectrum comic book written by PJ and Alan. Yep. Signed by PJ. I'll get back to that. That's actually PJ's daughter. You can't see it because my crap's in the way. But anyway, so I was like, I'm a Con Man fan. And then I sent the script, and then fast forward to, they were busy, stuff was going on. I got, busy with stuff, but it really wasn't until last year or so, I saw on Couch Soup, you can, for different perks, PJ told this story, and the highest level, the highest tier, you can pitch PJ Harzma and Drew Lewis, his producing partner at Couch Soup, an idea. And so I pitched them my script again, and we were talking for about a year, and it got to the point where we're going to shoot we call it a proof of concept movie teaser. Shot that with them in LA last August, and I was just in my pants the whole time, in joy, like just sheer joy. PJ mentioned in the podcast, let me throw that out there too. So I met you, Tim, because of Couch Soup, and you're like, oh, we interviewed PJ, and I was like, oh. And so that day I looked up your guys' interview with him, and I listened to it while I was at work. At my soul-sucking warehouse job is what I call it. Hating life and everything, and going, and then all of a sudden at the end of the podcast, PJ starts telling my story of working with him and stuff, and so I was like, I'm not crying, you're crying. It was great. It was a good time.
So where can people go to watch the movie trailer? Is it out somewhere for people to be able to click on it? I did. I just made it public. I got my right there, IGN, my Instagram, and it's on there. I threw it on the YouTubes. It's on Vimeo, TikTok. Okay. If you go on any of those and search The Many Lives of Chuck Valentine, you get to watch our 5-minute teaser, which I'm super proud of and happy about. Oh, cool. I wasn't sure if it was on YouTube or not earlier, and I should have asked you, but I got busy this afternoon. I forgot. So when after the show here, I will edit the links and put your link for that down in the YouTube. Oh, cool. Down in our show notes, so people can click that and go check that out, because it is a really cool trailer. I did watch it. It's fun. Oh, you did see it? Oh. Yeah. So yeah, very nicely done. Very nice, high quality. So yeah. Because of PJ and Drew, and because of their connections, it was so serendipitous. It was amazing how things just fell into place and came together, because through my Zoom meetings with them. Hi, Jason. I was like, they're like, well, could you shoot this teaser in Utah? I was like, yeah, but I want to come meet you guys, and also I want to do it in LA with you guys. And they're like, all right. And we were planning that, and while we were planning it, the writer's strike happened, the actor's strike happened during this time. Had no forethought that was going to happen. Sure. And so there was a bunch of crew members just looking for work to, feed their families and continue to do what they love. PJ and Drew shot a commercial with Kyle Jewell, who is the director of photography he did Con Man, he did Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
and he's currently doing The Rookie with Nathan Fillion. So when they were done shooting their commercial, he's like, "You got anything else for me?" PJ goes, "Yeah, I got something for you." And so I got to shoot with this highly professional crew. Awesome guys. I love them to death for doing. They did. So Kyle said something awesome in my first chat with him that every director wants to hear, that I am there to fulfill your vision. Because he's highly experienced and I'm highly not experienced, and so it was great. I was like, "Oh, thank you," but he didn't fulfill my vision. He completely enhanced it. These images
cool.
that I've had in my head for years, and then I told him, like, this looks far better and beautiful than even my wildest dreams.
That's cool, man.
There's a trailer right there. Yeah,
that's very cool. Yeah, it was kind of neat because when we had PJ on the show and we were talking with him, one of the cool things that I thought was that how cool is this as a bonus, as a perk of being a member for Couch Soup. Now there's obviously varying tiers and varying different things that you can get, and being a contributor to Couch Soup, you and I both of us are, we both know that there are some possibility of some upcoming changes to those perks where the members are going to be able to get more for what they're giving. And so it's going to be some really cool stuff coming up. So if you haven't already, go to couchsoup.com, become a member. There, of course, is a free tier. You don't have to worry about that. You're not blocked out of the site. It's not dollar locked, but you will get more fun for your money if you sign up at couchsoup.com. Even if you just go with a $5 subscription, it's pretty rad what you get, and the kind of contact that you get with all the contributors and the people who run the site and all the behind the scenes stuff, access to the Couch Soup Circle. So yeah, it's good times. So yeah, encourage you guys, go check that out. Go check out couchsoup.com and go right there, click the thing, do the thing. That'll be down in the links. Check out Tyson's movie trailer, The Many Lives of Chuck Valentine. It is pretty entertaining. It's a nice little piece of cinema, and it's a quick watch. If you can watch 5 TikTok videos, you can watch Tyson's trailer. So, all right.
Appreciate that. I'll say this too. One of my favorite things about Couch Soup is that because it's great people. The whole reason I signed up was just to be able to pitch my movie to PJ and Drew and see if they were interested in helping me out with it. I'd watched their YouTube stuff, so I was already a fan of theirs.
Right.
But I wasn't active in the community until I signed up for Couch Soup. I'll throw this part into the story as well because it's fun. Like the month before my first meeting with PJ and Drew, some Couch Soup people were coming here to Salt Lake for the Fan X convention in Salt Lake City, and Nolan North was going there too. So I just realized I'm wearing my Nolan hat too. So there he is again. And they talked about Couch Soup there. They had a panel. Nolan was on the panel, and they talked about how it was retro replay. That's a cool story. So I'll quickly share it. I won't quickly share it. I'll go back further and tell more details because I know how it happened. PJ produced Con Man with Alan Tudyk, and Alan came to him one day and said, because this was back, they were making Uncharted 4, but there was some reshuffling of leadership, and so people that were in it got out and everything. And so Alan Tudyk was going to be in Uncharted 4. He's working with Nolan, and Nolan came up with this character that he does just for fun. It's called Gary Lansing, the performance capture king. Mm-hmm. And he's making jokes and inappropriate jokes as he does. And Alan Tudyk just loved him and was loving it and wrote Nolan into Con Man. Told PJ, is like, we were going to go with this someone else. I think it was a name actor. I don't know who it is. It's like, we're going with Nolan North. PJ's like, who the hell is Nolan North? But those two, PJ and Nolan, really hit it off, and they had a great time on Con Man. And PJ says, like, we should do something together. And they were throwing around ideas. Then I believe it was Drew who came up with, was like, you should play these old video games and we'll do a YouTube channel. Yeah, so that's how that started. So they were doing retro replay. Then Corona and stuff happened. But during Retro Replay, there was all these fans, just like you guys have the live chat here. It started building this community, and people were becoming friends. And so the shutdowns happened, and Nolan's like, we got to keep this community going. We got to do something for that. Then comes Couch Soup, and so that's where people that came from Retro Replay started being contributors.
Right.
Tim, you wrote a fantastic article that I read before I even knew who you were.
Oh, thank you.
I love that. Because I go on tangents. I call them Tyson tangents. So
We all go on tangents. It's all good.
Buckle up, kids. Good.
It's part of what we do.
This whole Tea Time series is literally just one long tangent, so you're
beautiful.
fine.
That was the premise of it. We're like, we're doing all these silly things. Let's let them. We all have these tangents and these left field rants that we go on. And matter of fact, one of the things we're working on is putting together a series for Ben called Ben's rants or whatever we're gonna call it. But
fantastical rants.
Fantastical rants. Yes, that's it.
Because we don't have a lot of. We have a lot of science fiction, a lot of pop culture, not a lot of fantasy stuff, and that's my area of expertise. So.
Okay.
If you couldn't tell by,
I'm wearing a
there you go
shirt for you guys today.
We'll get onto that at some point today, and if we don't, that's fine too. This is great conversations.
I'm wearing a hoodie.
Hey,
so
I'm literally now back in pajamas.
Yeah, you were very fancily dressed. Camera cut, came back on.
Pajamas.
I'm not wearing pants, but that's every Zoom.
Why not? Nobody can see it.
I mean, we get recorded from here up. Who cares?
Until now. Just kidding. So to go back, there was the Couch Soup people came, and I was not involved in the community, but I went to the Couch Soup panel, and then I became friends with everyone there. They said they were like it's great how we just kind of we totally adopted you, and it feels like I was abducted into a cult. Which is
no, I totally understand that because that's exactly what happened to me.
Beautiful.
That's what happened here.
I'm like, oh yeah, funny science fiction. They're great. They're awesome. Oh wait, they're contacting me. They want me to be a guest host and like pop in on random things. And then they're just like, hey, you want to be part of the team?
That's great. I had to ask to come on here. I told Tim, I was like, I love the podcast. I love it. Can I be on it? Can I? But I thought it was going to be like after I was in, active movie prep and promotion and stuff like that. So I'm glad I'm here while I'm still a nobody.
Well, we'll bring you back. We'll bring you back when you're all big and famous, and
It's so now we can claim that we had the first interview with you.
There you go.
We are so indie. We knew him before he was cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Josie, please. Sorry, my dog just like bumped the ring light and it like wobbled back and forth. I'm like, I thought it was gonna drop.
So yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff.
This is where I was going with that.
I'm sorry.
Before I forget,
sorry. No, I knew that. We interrupted the tangent.
It happened. I just, got abducted into this cult happily, I guess willingly, and then I started being more active in Couch Soup. One of my favorite things. So the perk I'm signed up with now is called Soup du Drusuf, I believe. That's $25 a month, and then you get to have the monthly Zoom calls, which is where Tim and I met. You were on your first one, and that's my favorite because and PJ talked about this too. It's like it's a great, positive, good community. I get kind of hippie, woo woo sometimes, spiritual energy, whatever, and it's the law of attraction. Like attracts like, and so I like with my fellow nerds there. I'm like, I found my people.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
And that was, and as a matter of fact, when I got done with the Zoom call the other day, and even with the contributors meeting yesterday, I got off and I was looking at my wife. I'm like, these are my people. These are the nerds I like. It's just such a cool vibe there, and how they do things, and the way things are brought is very professional, but also at the same time very relaxed, very chill. The high quality on the articles and the way that the things are written. So I am very excited to be part of the Couch Soup contributor family, And yeah, as a matter of fact, the other website that I do work for doesn't know it, but I'm currently writing my last article for them because I'm going to put all my efforts into Couch Soup. So
that's fantastic. That's so cool.
Yeah. So I've been very much enjoying working with the Couch Soup folks. In fact, that link there is my brand new article about looking back at Godzilla 1998 soundtrack and why Puff Diddy Daddy sucks. Anyway, there's that.
There's that. I really did, because I follow all sorts of entertainment news, and I got so sick of seeing. I hate when everyone jumps on the bandwagon of crapping on a movie or something. And I loved the Marvels. I really did. I thought it's a super fun movie. I thought
I have yet to see it. No spoilers, but general opinion is great.
So you know that one part where they get like killed everybody, and then
it's Marvel. Everybody, there's explosions.
Hey Ben.
Yeah.
Spoiler:
Hi.
Brie Larson's in it.
Damn it! I'm kidding.
That's reason enough for me.
I actually really like Brie Larson. She's
I do
pretty
too.
cool.
I think she's phenomenal as Captain Marvel.
The fact that people immediately are just like, "Oh, she's garbage." It's like people had an issue with her showing up in Avengers and her own movie because they kind of like shoehorned it in. But it's the difference between this is your movie and this is a movie we need you to do for another movie.
Yeah.
All this recent hate just took me back to when the first Captain Marvel came out, and I liked that one too. I was like, why is everyone just
people were crapping on that one before it even came out? Yeah.
Yeah. And so
it was an okay movie.
God forbid you have a woman with an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's a whole nother tangent that I could go off on easily. But
I could jump on that with you.
I mean, we could just change the title card and just.
Well, hey, we do have actually a habit.
I'll finish that because I was like, it was like the first one. Someone else posted on Facebook saying like, "Hey, I think the narrative is just jumping on the He-Man Women's Hater Club or whatever." But so I posted your article in there. I was like, finally, someone with the voice of reason saying like, "Hey, maybe there's more to the story. Maybe because of COVID, people aren't." I loved it and appreciated it. So I was a fan of yours before we met.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I do also want to point to that, Tim, of your article was really great. Well written, well opinionated. You did amazing. People on Facebook commenting on it without even clicking the link. They read the like cut off headline and just go, it's garbage.
They read the title and the excerpt and they were like, and I hate you.
They were proving your article.
Oh yeah,
they were proving the point exactly, and you're just like.
There was one guy too who was like commenting on the. Oh, of course this was written by a man. It's like.
Sorry for having a penis.
Exactly. How dare you?
Not his fault.
All right, so kids and cadets, we actually do have a topic tonight, and so one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and one of the things we've been doing on our tea time is we've been talking about these topics, kind of exploding them out. Last week we talked about the many masks of Spider-Man. We had voice actor Andrew Morrison on with us,
and we had actual Spider-Man with us.
And we had Spider-Mans.
I couldn't make it though, but we had Spider-Man.
So, yeah, topic. Maybe we possibly have a topic. Our topic is, what's your Hobbit hole? And so it's an interesting conversation because when we think about a Hobbit hole, it's something that's a place where it's comfortable, it's relaxing, it's where, you think of in the movies, Bilbo and Frodo went there to relax. It was their sanctuary. And
I can get really deep into the soundtrack for The Lord of the Rings and how whenever there were moments of comfort, the Shire like leitmotif would play, especially getting towards Mount Doom, where there's no comfort, and it's almost a distorted Shire theme of like they're trying to find it, especially when Frodo says, "I don't remember the Shire."
Right.
It's the music is like it's almost there, but sorry, go on.
No, you're fine. I just realized I took our image down, so I'll put it back up for a second. But yeah, there it is. So we want to talk about that tonight. What's your Hobbit hole? But we're relating this to pop culture and the different things that we seek out in pop culture, whether it's sci-fi, fantasy, music, video games, books, whatever it may be, to find some level of culture when life gets a little stressful. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but that happens. Life sucks. Real sucks. And so yeah. So I have an overall. Let's do it this way. I have a couple subtopics, but if there's one thing in particular that's your guys' Hobbit hole, what is that? Ben, I'll start with you, since this was kind of your idea.
I mean, it is the Shire. It is the Hobbit hole, Bag End. This one actually isn't Bag End. It's close enough, though.
It's Baggish End.
Baggish End.
It's Bag End from Wish.
Yes.
No, that looks far too nice to be from Wish.
It's
Emu.
Wow.
Got a spit take.
Wow. You good, Tim? Are you alive?
I'm good.
I would yell for help, but Shayna can't hear me.
Wow.
We need to change the title card now of just "We Killed Tim" live on air.
Yeah, it didn't get me to fall out of my chair, but you did get me to gag on my tea, so there's that.
I'll just call Kendall with the "I killed your dad."
We almost got you to fall out of your chair last one when both me and Andrew popped up in Spidey suits, and you're just like you're dying in the background.
I wish we would have been recording that intro, the behind the scenes stuff. The stuff that was before we went live, so it wasn't recording yet, was phenomenal.
Oh, it's so great.
And I'm just sitting here going, why? Why can't we be recording now? Anyway. But yeah. Totaled by tea, yes.
Yes. But going back to the Shire leitmotif, playing just the soundtrack for Bag End or the Shire, suddenly whatever's going on, just you could be having the worst day of your life, but you sit down on a mildly comfortable chair, put on that song, and suddenly you're sitting by the fireplace in Bag End waiting for your tea to be ready. You're looking down the road to see Gandalf's cart coming down. It suddenly becomes peaceful and good, no matter what's going on around you. And there's other places that my mind can go for similar things, but nothing ever immediately just like transports me in the same way of like the and you're gone. But that's my thing.
Okay. All right. Kathleen, what about you?
So this is complicated for me because there's a few. I mean, it is we get to this time of year and I'm like, it's time for a Lord of the Rings marathon. But also if I don't have the mental fortitude for a Lord of the Rings marathon, it's what about 10th Kingdom? I can do 10th Kingdom. That's significantly shorter. But it's
not
still
13 hours.
Right. It's 6, 8, something like that. But I mean, because then it's still the fantasy escapishness, but there's a lot. I've gotten into the playing the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, and we've got like a little electric fireplace in our living room, and I will now just like turn the either like the Lord of the Rings soundtrack or even the medieval lo-fi stations with my little fireplace. That's not it.
Not that one.
Oh, not that one. My bad. Okay, so I'm sorry.
I do love the Darth Vader Yule log.
Right.
I had that playing on our TV last Christmas? I think so. Yeah.
But I've actually recently gotten into, this is going to sound bad, and I do not, for those of you that are younger watching this, don't do this, but I've gotten into pipe smoking. But not like tobacco or anything like that, but like herbs, like thyme, sage, things like that.
Long bottom leaf,
Old Toby's.
Yeah.
But
whatever's currently legal in the state of Alaska.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever's found on roadside, it's fine.
Well, no, but like in the same way of like using like lavender oil or like incense or anything like that, you can still smoke lavender. And having that is a very calming thing. So sitting on my little porch thing outside of my apartment, bundled up in a blanket on a chair, listening to the Lord of the Rings and just smoking a pipe is incredibly calming.
Okay.
It's very nice, especially since directly from my front door, looking straight, especially this time of year, is a beautiful snow-covered mountain.
Oh,
So in the
nice.
brief hours of sunlight that we get, I get an amazing view.
Excellent.
The idea of smoking lavender sounds horrendous to me, but that's also because I hate the smell of lavender.
Well, you could do anything. I also have thyme. You could do sage, mint as well.
So do you actually puff the cigar, or do you or pipe rather, or are you
Yeah.
just like burning it as like incense?
No, like you can puff it. You get a taste in your mouth, and you still get the smell of it from out, like
Sure.
of the pipe, but it changes when it's like actually in your mouth or going into your nose and everything like that. But
Please tell me that it's like an like Popeye the Sailor Man old corn cob pipe. Please tell me that. Even if you're lying, I just need to know. So
sorry, what was that question? My dog is completely losing it right now.
I hear that. I just want to know if it was like an old Popeye corn cob.
No, it is a legit Gandalf pipe. Actually, 1 second.
All right. Well, while he's calming his dog, Tyson, what about you? What is your overall Hobbit hole?
So kind of like one movie or one fandom,
Or just what's the one thing that you find yourself always kind of gravitating to, that when kind of crap hits the fan and you're looking to calm down? It could be music, it could be video games, it could be whatever. I mean, because we're going to go through these a little more directly, but if there's one overall, they're like, yep, this is it.
One ring to rule them all. I don't have a one. Because being into movies, people always ask, what's your favorite movie? That's hard. I'm like, well, as much as I could narrow it down as like 3 movie franchises. That's as much as I could narrow it down. So Lord of the Rings, the Dark Knight trilogy, and
Nice.
Indiana Jones. Those are my...
I salute them all. Well done. Okay.
I find it interesting that the Dark Knight is considered your comfortable place.
Yeah.
Gotham is not noticed.
Well, Batman wins every time, so that's comforting.
But also,
cut that.
Ooh.
Oh, look at those.
and this one is actually Gandalf's. It has his rune for his. This one is. These are actually all from a brand called Shire Pipes, where they make ones basically from the movie or based off characters. This one's Gandalf. They have a Boromir. This one is the Smaug version, which is supposed to be Bilbo's.
Oh,
nice.
And they're very nice.
I have
this one
Anduril
is
sitting over
absolutely gigantic, though.
Oh
here.
goodness!
The blade that was broken.
I have a lightsaber that looks like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Drayton is asking you, Ben, does it ruin your lungs? So we did there? Rune.
Well, you see, I mean, technically speaking, smoking anything could potentially do that. I do not do this. It's not like I need to... when you're just smoking, like, medicinal herbs and things like that, there's no addiction. There's nothing in there that can be addicting, as opposed to, like, tobacco or marijuana or anything like that. I mean,
it's just for fun.
Smoking rosemary isn't going to get me high or anything.
Any kind of smoke, better.
Yeah, any kind of smoking could potentially hurt your lungs.
Okay. So
be warned.
And then let's see that for mine. I bet you guys can't guess what mine is.
Is it Star Wars?
No, it's specifically Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Actually,
that's my final answer. There's
One
no
Piece.
other guesses.
One Piece. I don't think I've ever even watched an episode of One Piece.
Go watch One Piece. It's so good. Go watch it.
Yes. So anyway,
No, I know. I know what it is. My Little Pony.
All right,
It's
some of those are
Bluey.
bangers. Bluey is not just for kids anymore. Coming to a couch soup near you. Anyway, that's the next article. That's what I'm writing right now.
Me and
Sweet.
Kathleen get partial credit for that.
Y'all.
We'll see. I'm giving
Dude, I
credit
did an
to Honora.
entire 5 at 5 on it, and then we did an entire tea time. Come on.
I'm giving credit to Honora. Anyway.
Okay, well.
Okay, that's acceptable.
But yeah, so yes, for me, it's always been Star Wars. And although Tyson may not be able to limit it down to what is his favorite movie, best movie of all time, hands down, is Empire Strikes Back. That's not up for discussion.
Yeah, there's not much of a
that's
competition.
Everybody's like, oh, that's your favorite Star Wars movie. No, that's not what I said. That is my favorite movie of all time. I love Empire Strikes Back. I love the nuances. I love how it sets up for Return of the Jedi and the cleansing of Anakin, Darth Vader, so that he gets to become young Anakin again at the end of the movie, as in the changed versions. But anyway, so for me, it's always Star Wars. I mean, there are other things that I enjoy, but when it comes to if I'm having a crap day, I think I'm on my at least my 10th watch through of the entire movie show index on Disney Plus. I'm currently in this end of season 1 of The Mandalorian again, and I just kind of circle back through and I start back over again. I used to do the same thing with the movies back in the day. And it doesn't mean that I'm always sitting down, eyes on screen, but I have them playing in the background. And I'm like, I walk out, I do a load of laundry, I come back in, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this scene. I like this scene. There are certain episodes that or movies and spots of movies where I must be sitting down and I have to watch those scenes.
Jar Jar scenes.
Yeah.
Just a compilation of Jar Jar scenes.
So,
Yeah.
Tim, are you saying that in the olden times when you had to rewind the VHS,
Be Kind, Rewind, yeah.
you would just watch them back to back?
I would take the one VHS out, put it in the VCR rewinder because it was too hard on my VCR to do its job. So I had a little VCR rewinder next to it, and I would take out one cassette, put in the next, take out one, put in the next, and just kind of cycle through. So let's see. John says Tim's a brony, y'all. You heard it here first.
That's the next Couch Soup article.
When he's not being a Swiftie. Hey, she's got some good songs. Keep it up. We'll have some bad blood. Anyway,
I just posted something, Tim, if you want to put it up. This is something I highly recommend anyone who has difficulty specifically with The Lord of the Rings. If you cannot read it, the movies are fantastic. They do a wonderful job. But I highly recommend people read it. And Phil Dragish does an audiobook version of The Lord of the Rings. The whole thing. His voice acting is beautiful. The fact that he intercuts the entirety of the book with also the music from the movie and there's sound effects in the background. The fact that you can hear in like the Battle of Helm's Deep, the song of Helm's Deep and clashing of swords and arrows and it's so beautiful. Whenever I go on long hikes and like go out into the woods for miles and miles and miles, I have like bone conducting headphones so I can still hear things, but I have those books playing almost the entirety of the time.
Okay, completely off topic because you brought it up. How good are those bone conducting headphones?
I really like them. Granted, you wear them for too long and they're literally like on your temples the whole time, just like but if you're not wearing them for like hours on end, they're perfectly comfortable.
Okay.
And it also means your ears are open and you can hear the things around you.
Well, in bear country, I'm sure that's important.
Oh yeah, very much.
So Drayton says one of my faves is Terry Pratchett audiobooks. Understood.
Another fantastic choice of your little Hobbit hole of the mind.
Okay, so let's kind of break this down into kind of the subsections. So when it comes to sci-fi, now clearly mine's going to be the same one. It's still Star Wars, but for you guys, and you guys can just answer these at random. Do you guys have a favorite place to go in the sci-fi world?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, what is it?
Star Trek Voyager. That was
Okay.
my Star Trek growing up. I grew up with Janeway and Chakotay and the Tuvok, the whole crew going through their things. And sometimes I even just put on, like if I'm just hanging out doing nothing, I will put on just the ambient sound of the Voyager. There's a whole like 10-hour playlist on YouTube that you can pull up for that. And it's just the standard Star Trek, just bleeps and bloops and things like that. And sometimes you hear the doors open or Janeway gives a command or something like that. It's such a, when it comes to like science fiction specifically, that's my go-to for comfort. Would I say that's my favorite? No, Star Wars definitely has that hands down, but comfort wise.
Okay. What about you?
I'm with John with DS9, but I'm also with
I kind
Ben
of figured.
Voyager because like I love Voyager too. Like it's the which one do I pick? Because I love them both.
It's also
fair
that all the Star Trek captains have their things. They all are like, oh, one's the negotiator and not to make that a reference to Obi-Wan, but they're calm, they're collected, things like that.
Negotiator.
You do not mess with Janeway. You even attempt to threaten Janeway, and she'll just sit there and look you dead in the eyes and be like, "That's cool. Ready, torpedoes." And everyone's just like, "Wait a minute, what?" It's like, I said what I said. Ready, torpedoes. We are destroying them.
Okay, so the thing with Doctor Who is that I actually have gotten to the point where I've watched it so many times that now it's the like I'll go to start watching it and I'm like, oh, but I've already seen this one, and it's not like I'm interested in watching it again. I'm in that weird point where it's like it hasn't been long enough since I watched them for them to be interesting again.
Yeah. Well, this is where you just got to go all the way back, like first Doctor.
Yeah.
So I've never seen Doctor Who, but right up there is David Tennant. A picture with him. Yeah, I know he's lots of people's favorite Doctor, but
rude.
John pointing out not to look at Captain Janeway until she's had her coffee.
Coffee, black.
She's also the only starship captain that drinks coffee. All the others either drink tea or do not mention their morning beverage.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I liked her for a reason. All right, Tyson, what's your favorite sci-fi Hobbit hole?
It's Star Wars.
Star Wars.
That and Indiana Jones, I don't remember the first time I watched them. I just know I literally grew up watching those over and over.
They were just there.
Here's actually a good question. Does Indiana Jones count as sci-fi or fantasy? Because
I'll put that in fantasy. I don't know.
Yeah, because aside from the crystal skull, we don't talk about that too much. But aside from the crystal skull, everything's related to magic or religion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In one way or another, yeah. Yeah, I would classify Indiana Jones as an action
modern fantasy. Yeah, like a modern action fantasy.
Yeah. Which is cool for me. I mean, I love Indiana Jones. I just love Harrison Ford. So, yeah.
I should have brought it. I have the book upstairs, but first let me say, did you guys watch the Disney Plus documentary about ILM?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Light and Magic, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Industrial Light and Magic, yeah.
Yeah. I was watching that. It's fantastic. I love it. And I really realized, like, as one person has influenced me in my wanting to be a movie director more than anyone else, and it's George Lucas.
Yeah, fair.
And I have multiple reasons why, and I learned some more reasons why watching that documentary. But so, like I said, Indiana Jones and Star Wars, grew up with them. The first amateur movies that I ever made with my friends were Indiana Jones and Star Wars related.
Sure.
Then I was I have the book. It's The Making of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And,
What up, Wise?
and I'm reading that, and I remember I was in high school reading it. I'm like, this was the exact thought I had. I was like, man, I am just eating this stuff up. Which I
Right?
thought was indicative of like, well, I should probably career-wise go towards something like this. But I'm reading about the different departments. There was, it was in pre-production phase still. So like concept artists and the costume design and Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor were already battling out, training for their big duel. I was like, I kind of like a little bit of everything. I don't want to be laser focused on one. And that's when I was like, oh, that's what George Lucas is doing. He's got his hands in a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's the director. That's when the lights came on for me. I was like, oh, I want to be a director.
Right. I can do a little bit of both. Yeah, exactly.
I get to do, get my dirty little hands in everything. And then, so I'm watching the ILM thing, and it's talking about how much George pushed for digital and and worked with Apple and everything. I was like, oh, because of one man, George Lucas, I had a DV camcorder growing up, and I had an iMac, and I had iMovie, and I was making those Indiana Jones, Star Wars movies with my friends. So it's all George Lucas's fault. As if you could point it down to one person, I want to do what I want to do.
I'm pretty sure a lot of like newer writers, directors, they can all blame George Lucas for what they're doing.
I think there's a pretty good Star Wars. Everyone says that, like,
I think there's a pretty right. No, I think there's a pretty wide swath of people who are coming into the arts who are impacted one way or another by either Star Wars or Star Trek, one way or the other, because of the influence of those two. Those are the two titans of the sci-fi world. I mean, that's not taking anything away from the Stargates and the Andromedas and everything else that's out there, but these are the two titans, and these are the ones that, hi, Timothy. Why did I get recommended this? I think it's because we're awesome, and we're a lot of fun, and we have cool people like Tyson on the show, and so we are a nerdy podcast. We sit around and we talk about things, and every Friday, if you stick around for a couple minutes, you'll hear who was on our podcast last Friday and who's coming up this Friday. We interview people in the sci-fi and pop culture world. So, and that's what we're about. So check us out. If you haven't already, subscribe, click the button, do the thing. Anyway,
I'm a subscriber. I hit the bell icon.
Excellent. Love it. All right. So, we've got all kinds of different things that we're all enjoying, whether it's, in pop culture and whatever else. But one of the things I want to talk about is because this isn't something that I do as much anymore, but I used to when I was a kid. I used to read like nonstop. I always had a book in my hands. I always had a book in my backpack going to and from school. So I find now that I enjoy audiobooks more than I actually do sitting down reading. But the one book that I have actually loved is both sit down and read and listen to the audio version and loved the movie of was Ready Player One. Absolutely love the book. I love the movie, even though the book is over here and the movie's over here. They're completely different.
They're almost two different things.
Yeah, I mean, they had the same basic concepts and same basic characters, but there was so much about them that was so very different. But do you guys have a book that is, if you're going to sit down and read something, or even an audiobook, if you want to just sit down and listen to something? Because frankly, I loved it because of Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton's reading on Ready Player One is just top notch.
Oh, yeah. Well, I already gave half of mine with The Lord of the Rings, narrated by Phil Dragish. Beautiful.
Right.
But if I'm going to sit and read, there's The Hobbit, because it's an easy read. It's not as super in-depth as the rest of The Lord of the Rings. But there's The Hobbit.
You don't have to have a wagon to pull the whole book behind you.
Exactly. But this is going to be pulling way back into my brain. There is a collection of short stories by Louis Lamar, West of Dodge. It's a Western story. I think I might have read that at least 1,000 times. And it sucks because I can't find that book anymore.
Oh, it's got to be out there somewhere.
I keep looking for it and I'm just not finding it because I have a distinct image of what the cover looks like and everything, and I can't find it anywhere. I keep finding the actual short story of West of Dodge, which is like that thick, but the book itself was a
but not the
collection,
book itself.
and it was a pretty hefty book.
All right, Kathleen or Tyson, do you guys have books that you roll back to, audio or otherwise?
Well, currently I have fallen into the universe of Sarah J. Maas, and
Oh boy,
I may never come back.
Mimi.
I may never come back. But there's a book that I read in middle school that is written for middle school aged kids that I've probably read 5 or 6 times since I completed it the first time. It's by Margaret Peterson Haddix, and it's called Running Out of Time. And it's a fascinating story of this young girl she's sent by her mother to go get medication for like tuberculosis or something. I don't remember what it is, but she finds out that her whole life is a lie. She thought that she was living in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and no, it's like 1996. She's living in a museum. Like, they have...
Interesting.
Oh, it is fascinating. So her mom, like, helps her sneak out so that she can go get the medication, because the people who ran the museum had decided that it was more historically accurate not to vaccinate the children, to not allow them to have medication. And so then now the kids are dying. Like, yeah, it's a really cool book for being written for middle school aged kids. But she also has another series called, it's the Shadow Children series, which is based, it's a sort of dystopian. Your main character is Luke. He has 2 older brothers, Matthew and Mark. And he is the 3rd child in a society that only allows 2. So he is...
gotten rid of John.
Well, it happens. But like, he finds out that, because he's been living on this farm and he's had this freedom, but then the farmlands around them sell and they build a subdivision. And so now he has to be careful about not being seen, because the population control police will come and they will take your children. Like, they will take your extra child because you're not supposed to have more because the population's, but misadventures and finding out that there's other hidden children. And then there's this very bizarre, later in the series, you find out that sometimes they will use the extra children to replace the higher society members' children if something happens to them. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So then
I was going to make a Star Wars joke, but that's not very Star Wars.
No, it is.
Well, no, it technically is.
Yeah. It's twisted and weird, though, because it's not like this person's son died in a skiing accident. You match the physical description of him. You are now him. You are going to go live in this family. Yeah.
Drafted by the Jedi. Okay.
It's weird. But like those ones specifically are ones that I go back to a lot.
Okay. Tyson, anything for you?
There's this book, Everyone Poops. You know, I think it's just like, it really portrays the human condition. Like, because it's true, we all do it. And so I think it really unites us. I'm blanking on the author, but...
I should also lead you in the direction of F is for Fart. I think you would also enjoy that one.
Brother, he went to Germany and he brought back this children's book, and he's like, when it translated into English, it's called Who Done It on My Head, and it has a cartoon. It's a mole, so he's like blind, and he's got this turd on his head, and he's like going around to all these different animals. He's like, did you do it on my head? And they're like, no, mine looks like this. And it's...
Oh, I love that.
I wonder if he still has that. It's fantastic. No, my actual
Taro Gomi wrote Everybody Poops. Everyone Poops. I looked it up for you.
I actually haven't read that one, but I'm sure it's very good. I grabbed it. I got it. This is called, this is the whole collection, The Legend of Jig Dragon Slayer, but it's 3 different books by Jim C. Hines.
Okay.
It's Goblin Quest, Goblin Hero, Goblin War. These are fun as hell. They're so fun and funny. So it does these different tropes that we're all familiar with. It's the fantasy. It's very Lord of the Ringsy. It's very Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. But it's from Jig the Goblin's perspective.
Okay.
I've listened to Jim C. Hines talk about the idea, and he's like, because he's a fan of all these things. He's like, there's nothing ever from the goblins' perspective. Usually the goblins are just this annoying nuisance they have to get through. So why did I do that? And then also he said, plus Jig is like the runt of the litter.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like the underdog of the underdogs.
Okay.
And it's so much fun. It's from Jig's perspective, and these heroes come in, they're going on a quest, and Jig gets like wrapped up with them, and I love he's kind of like commenting on how dumb a lot of these things are, like, oh, for honor, for glory. He's like, you idiots, that's gonna get you killed. And they're so funny. There's some Lord of the Rings straight out references, but they're references to Lord of the Rings and other fictional things. It is just so much fun, funny, all that jazz. Highly recommended.
Right.
I think I've read the first book. I didn't realize they came out with more. Or maybe, because I remember reading it when I was a kid, I think.
I don't know when they started, but...
It's very familiar, but I might have read it like once years ago, and I have no idea. But it sounds familiar.
Okay.
I've read them all 2, maybe 3 times.
And I'll share this one too. This is the book that I'm currently listening to / reading, because I have both. This is a middle grade book called Vivian Van Tassel, The Secret of Midnight Lake. Excuse me. Vivian Van Tassel, The Secret of Midnight Lake. This is written by Michael Whitwer, the brother of Sam Whitwer. And this is it's a phenomenal book. This is it's Percy Jackson meets Harry Potter meets D&D. And it's super good. I've been very much enjoying it. I think I'm 8 or 9 chapters in right now. I just started listening to it. And very, very, very good. It's a fun read. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's designed for kids who are like 7th to 10th grade, maybe in that range. But it's definitely enjoyable for all. I mean, because when my kids were younger, I read all the Percy Jackson books with them and everything. And I really, really loved Percy Jackson. And that to me is kind of on the same vibe as Percy Jackson. He also is one of the authors of the Dungeons and Dragons Heroes Feast Flavors of the Multiverse, along with his brother Sam, director Kyle Newman, and D&D historian John Peterson. So they've got lore and legends, art and arcana, the original Heroes Feast. But anyway, so just a quick plug for Michael Whitwer.
Yeah.
But
With the running out of time, I was wrong. It's diphtheria, just in case you wondered.
Diphtheria.
I'm sending the link for the book because it's awesome.
Okay.
It sounds like an STI. You got a case of diphtheria.
When it comes to books, a lot of people, I feel like, get a little snobbish with it, where they're like, "Oh, that's a kid's book or something." It's like, you don't need to read the Encyclopedia Britannica for comfort. Like, people should not feel shamed. Yeah, people shouldn't feel shamed for reading a very comfortable book. I mean, one of my favorite book series is the Spiderwick Chronicles. That's for like maybe middle, just out of elementary kind of a thing. Yeah. They're great books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like,
if I still had the physical copies, I would read them again.
Yeah, Vivian Van Tassel, the main character of the book, she's 12 years old. I mean, but to me, it's more about the story. And I always tell people, same thing with Star Wars, love what you love, like what you like. And if that's what makes you happy, that's your Hobbit hole, I say go for it. Mm-hmm. So exactly. We could go on this topic for quite a bit of time, but we are actually running out of time. Tyson, remind everybody briefly where they can find out more information about you, what you got coming, and how to track you down on the interwebs without stalking.
Oh, you can stalk away. My OnlyFans link is I don't have that set up yet. I got to get
Mostly-
something to fund the movie, but I don't
Mostly
have that one yet.
pens.
Probably just my Instagram, Tysonio1.
Okay.
Someday I'll put a link tree on there and do other things, but that's probably the one I'm most active on.
All right. And guys, remember that we will be putting this down in the show notes down below. But you will have the opportunity to click and watch Tyson's trailer. Please go give that a watch. It is very cool. You will enjoy it greatly. Like I said, it's very well done, very professionally done. It doesn't look like it was done on somebody's iPhone 4. So,
the first meeting with PJ and Drew, I did do my own trailer with my iPhone and like Halloween costumes and stuff like that, just so they could get an idea. And I do remember him saying like, "Okay, I don't think this is gonna help you. I don't think it looks like a B movie and stuff like that." I was like, "Well, no, this was just for you guys, just so you could get the idea."
That's actually what a lot of actors do. I mean, going back to the Lord of the Rings, because everything does. When you look at the audition tapes from all of the cast of the Lord of the Rings, they're like in their living rooms with their wife or brother or neighbor, and they're wearing like what they can assume to be a costume, and it's so. I think Sean Astin said that he like recorded it in his living room and then sent a VHS tape.
well, yeah, because that came out. The original Lord of the Rings movie came out right at the cusp of when VHS was starting to go away, and DVD and Blu-ray were taking more of a foothold. So
I think the Lord of the Rings was like one of the first movie franchises to actually be only released on DVD.
Right.
Mainly due to the restrictions of they could not fit the movie on a VHS tape.
Yeah, I believe that. All right, guys. So if we haven't talked about what your Hobbit hole is, where your place of comfort in this pop culture world is, let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to hear more comments and more thoughts about this. Obviously, we didn't touch on a lot of things. We didn't get a chance to talk about music or video games or TV shows or things like that. There's a whole wide. We could do like a part 2, 3, 4 of this probably, and not touch all the comfort spots that everybody has. So, but yeah, let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you got in that realm. Kathleen, what happened last Friday?
Last Friday, we aired our interview with the longtime voice of Bowser for the Nintendo games, Kenny James. We talk about being the Koopa King, as well as his work in anime, and the rumors of his work on Doctor Who audio programs.
All right, you can still find that episode of the FSF PopCast on our YouTube channel and your favorite audio podcast providers, especially Good Pods.
Good Pods!
And remember, your subscription to our YouTube channel is a major help. To our YouTube channel. Did I say you? I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't read. Simply
reading is fundamentally hard. Anyway.
Look, it's a thing, okay? The words are hard.
Words are tricky. I get it.
Interestingly enough, on average, the American reading level is 6th grade.
I am struggling on the 2nd grade. All right, there we go.
But please do not forget to click like and subscribe if you enjoyed our videos, and go check out our Patreon.
Thanks. That's right. Do the things. Click the buttons.
Get some really good behind-the-scenes stuff going on.
I think that Ben struggles with the same thing that I do, where your brain reads faster than your mouth can.
Yep,
and
that's exactly what happens.
You're like 6 words ahead of where you actually are, and then
And then there's like a car crash, and they all try to join up. So
my brain was already reading subscribe to watch videos as I was trying to say subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I'm like,
all right, guys. Upcoming on this Friday is artist. No, he's not an artist. He's an author. Excuse me, author and producer Frank Badur. Now, Frank was also a world-class champion skier. The man has had quite the life. He was a champion skier, and that's how he got into stunt work, and that's how he got into acting, and that's what led him to become a producer on There's Something About Mary, which is a comedy classic. And he is a longtime fan of Alice in Wonderland, so he started the book series, The Looking Glass Wars, which is a phenomenal retelling of the Alice in Wonderland story, but from a completely different standpoint. And yeah, it's something that you have to read to kind of get the grasp of, but it's a very cool story. And side note, the cover art, hold on a second, because I have it right here. I didn't even plan this. This was just kind of sitting there. Realized I had it over there. But if you notice the knights or the people, the fighty people, I can't think of what they're called. But these guys,
Fighty people probably works.
The
We'll
playing
go with-
cards.
The guys with the pointy things.
Yes, the fighty people. I'm just going to keep going back to that. There's a better picture of them inside the book here. There's some fantastic artwork, the concept art that was actually used for it. And if you look at that and you go, wow, that looks a lot like a Star Wars B-2 battle droid. There's a reason for that, and Frank tells you why in the interview. It's a really cool story, and it was one of those things, as he was telling it to us, I was like, no, really? That's why? Really? Shut up. That's not why. But yeah, that's why. Anyway, so you'll find that in the interview, and it's really cool. We have a great time to talk about how he went from skiing to becoming an actor, to becoming a stuntman, to becoming the producer that he was, and to being the best-selling author that he is now, with a huge fan base that loves the Looking Glass Wars.
Amazing interview, and we actually got to get him on a Tea Time just to talk about Alice in Wonderland. That'll be a 4-hour-long podcast.
Yeah, we barely scratched the surface of his version of Alice in Wonderland, because we had so many other things to talk about. But as we were talking to him, we're like, this is really cool, and this is a lot of fun, and holy crap. So anyway, let's see. Did you guys have channels before this podcast? How do you know each other? Actually, yes, we all have our own individual channels. We know Ben from TikTok. That's how we met. We met him through TikTok and one of our show sponsors, and we got in touch with him and brought him on to have fun. Kathleen and I have been friends for a long time. And
7 years!
I think she actually, is it 8? I thought
We're pushing 8.
Yeah, we got to be pushing 8. Anyway, we've known each other for 7-8 years. We've had a lot of fun, and yeah, we had this podcast, and I asked Kathleen to sub in one day, and then she never left. And we asked Ben to sub in one day, and he never left, and it just kind of stuck around. And Tyson, I met through couchsoup.com. Go check it out. It's a really cool place. And yeah, and so we had.
And I've adopted Tim's daughter as my niece. So.
Which only scares me because basically you are her in about 10 to 15 to 20 years, and it makes me want to just drink. There's not enough bourbon in this world. Anyway, but yeah, check. That will be out. This interview with Frank Bedour will be out this Friday morning. But if you're a Patreon member, you get video and audio access starting tomorrow. So anyway, yeah, check. More than likely.
So many behind the scenes as well.
Right. There's behind the scenes stuff coming and all. Yeah, this interview with Frank is top notch. We loved it, and you guys will have a lot of fun. So that's it. That's going to wrap us up today for the FSF PopCast. Check that out on Friday. Hold on. One more question he says, is this podcast mainly on YouTube, or do you have a bigger audience somewhere else like TikTok and Twitch? Ben has a bigger audience on TikTok. We have a smaller audience on TikTok. We really haven't done a whole much there.
I'm going to work on that.
But we are mainly here on YouTube. We have our Facebook group, which has 213,000 members. And I like how Tyson's just kind of trying to...
Tyson's just scooting in.
Here,
sorry, buddy.
Sorry.
We'll get you out from behind the banner in a minute.
I'm still here.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook at the Funny Science Fiction Facebook group, and you can just find us at the FSF PopCast. We have our own Facebook page there as well. But mainly, you're going to find us here and on your favorite audio podcast providers. But we do strongly suggest using Good Pods as your audio podcast provider. John says he's going to need more bourbon. I was just surprised that you have 2 viewers. Actually, they come in and out. We've been as high as 8 or 9 viewers. It depends on the night, the topic, and yeah. So
we also run a Star Wars Sagas game. It's a role-playing game where that gets lots of views. People pop in. I don't actually know the top number we've gotten, but we've gotten some pretty high numbers on our Star Wars games.
Yeah. So, and Yeah, so check that out. And honestly, we get more views on replay than we do live. So that's always been our thing. We never expect people to sit down for a live. It's always kind of hard to nail them down for that. But yeah, so yeah, glad you checked us out. And I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Timothy? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but thanks for checking us out. Hope you subscribe and come back. We do these every Monday night, and yeah, we'll have some fun. And he says, I wish you all a good night. We wish you a good night as well, too, sir. All right, guys, that's going to wrap us up for the FSF podcast. Before another question comes on the screen, that's going to do it. I keep stalling because I haven't got back up to my conclusion video. Okay, and bye.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF podcast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSFpopcast. Or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the contact link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.